That's it from me. Ariana, please come up for Introduction to Digital Forensics Week 5 presentation. Woo!
Hey everyone, hope you're all doing all right. Welcome to Digital Forensics, i.e. the one thing I learned in this entire 4 years of me being here. So quick, who am I for those of you who don't know? I'm a 4th year BSMS cybersecurity student. I'm also a BS criminal justice major. I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm from Westfield, Massachusetts, so by default, go Bruins. Save your booze, let me enjoy my life. I am an avid taco enjoyer. I do like making a lot of Mexican food. It is very yummy. I'm currently an Active Directory slave for Wegmans, TM of course, and I'm a proud member of the NSO cult. This is actually my pledge picture that they have to put everywhere. Kind of fun. And then that's my face because we're at week 5. So today's agenda, we're going to learn some of the basics of digital forensics. We're going to talk a little bit about the process. We're going to talk about a couple tools to help you accomplish certain tasks. And then some challenges because forensics is not really a cakewalk. So just a brief warning, please do not attempt to perform any of the stunts or activities in this PowerPoint presentation as they are dangerous and could lead to serious injury. Video submissions of any kind will not be accepted by MTV or the producers. For my friends who ever watched Ridiculousness, that was for you. It made my brain happy. So, what are digital forensics? Anybody? Then I guess this is, yep. He got it. So it's a really good topic for this week then, huh? So some of the basics. Digital forensics are essentially the process of collecting, preserving, analyzing, and reporting data that can be legally admissible in a court. So this is like if you have a cyber criminal and you want to take them to court to hopefully get them arrested for whatever they were doing, you use digital forensics in order to do that. And there are 2 types. You have your basic forensics, which is meant to discover information relating to a certain investigation. And there are anti-digital forensics, which make the process a lot more complicated, but we're gonna get over that. We're gonna talk about that later. Don't worry about it right now. Also, Peep Snooki. I love Jersey Shore. Next are some artifacts. This is how to tell if something was executed. These are like things that you can collect from a dead system, such as like passwords, logs, all that fun stuff. Like proving execution, you can use some tools like prefetch or netuser.dat. And then like implying like potential execution, that's like shell bags and like .lnk files. Whole bunch of stuff that's like pretty fun. So the process. The process for digital forensics mainly breaks up into 4 areas. That is going to be the collection aspect, so all your time doing all your sneaky little Linux commands, using all of your tools, and trying to find as much evidence as you can to use against somebody. Next is preservation. We're going to talk a lot about that. That's basically just making sure the evidence can be usable. You have your analysis. Is it going to be useful? And then reporting it. So like making sure that whatever you find is something that can be usable and then how you're going to use it against another person. So going a little bit more in depth with that, collection. This is just like a PSA. If the system is still like alive, you should definitely plug it in somewhere that isn't connected to anything else for obvious reasons. You kind of want to, like, when you have physical evidence and they put it in those little sealed bags, and it's like, do not touch, and they always use gloves to touch it, that's essentially this idea. You want to keep it clean, essentially. Next, you're going to try and acquire volatile data. So that is basically going to be stuff, well, evidence that is strictly usable. Just like you've watched any crime shows, not everything you find you can use all the time. It kind of sucks, but you have to be direct with it. Collection is also about gathering the information about users, determining what happened, and also being able to create like a timeline or discover tools. This is all setting you up for a really successful investigation as you're going to have this really nice mapped out plan of exactly what you need to do, how to do it, and how to keep going. Next is preservation. So you want to establish a chain of custody. This is basically going to help you maintain a record of how the evidence has been handled in that moment, and as well as like how your evidence is basically going to be presented and collected. So this would include like the date and time of collection, information of the processing evidence, the locations and the descriptions of evidence, basically making your evidence the most reliable and having the most information about it to show that it is actually useful. This is going to help verify that your evidence is intact and has not been altered, i.e. keeping it clean. And then it is stored in a tamper-proof manner, meaning that nobody can, change what you found, edit what you found, and it just keeps it secure. Like I said, when you find evidence on a real crime scene, they put it in those little baggies. That's kind of what this is doing. MD5 and SHA-1 hashes are commonly used to help integrity verification and collisions. Same thing with timestamps and timelines. It's just to help make sure everything is going to be exact and correct. Next, you have your analysis. It's important to analyze content that could have been deleted or data that is typically inaccessible. So, analyzing files and file systems, and then constructing a timeline, like examining MAC time, such as modify, access, and created. These are some ideas to help you look for certain artifacts like we talked about previously. And it'll also help you search for keywords and perform a hash analysis to ensure that your data is in fact usable. And then reporting. So this is the required part that is probably the most important, is making sure that you can report your legally admissible evidence to the court of law. So you have to make sure that you have all of everything you've done, like any lab report you've ever worked on, and you had to type out your procedures, your methods, your equipment. You have to make sure it's as clear and as accurate as possible. If you leave out any pieces of information or something is not correct and someone finds out, it can completely wipe out all the work that you've done. So it's good to be honest, it's good to be accurate, and keep track of what you do. Even if it's not right and you make a mistake, still document it, because chances are it could have done something anyway. Facts and data to support and reject the statement, that's going to be something that is pretty much helping your case, I guess is the best way to put it. Analysis details during the report and statements and conclusions should be accurate, like I said. This is just ensuring that whatever you have is detailed enough to where it can actually withstand in a court. So we're going to talk about some tools. So these are some common tools and frameworks that are on Windows and Linux, such as Autopsy, FTK, FTK Imager, NK-SIFT. There's a lot of them, and they all have pretty similar aspects about them. But we're going to talk about it anyway. So if you don't know, you're about to. So Autopsy. Autopsy is probably one of my favorite tools, specifically just because it's probably the most user-friendly. And it's an open source platform to help you analyze hard drives, smartphones, and it will actually organize all of your evidence into categories, and it will offer you a GUI to help analyze the systems, extract data, and review the deleted files and history and all that fun stuff. It's basically like looking through ADUC on Windows, except all of it is just information that you found or that it found for you. So it's really fun. FTK is another one that's really common. It's a commercial tool specifically for file discovery, data recovery, and analysis. So it basically allows you to scan and index data rather quickly. It will also support things like file decryption, registry analysis, email data recovery, and it can also work with really large data sets. And then it also has a multifunctional interface for file systems, memory dumps, and mobile device analysis. So this one is probably one of the most versatile, I guess is the best way to put it. You can use it for a lot of different things. It works for a lot of different goals. And it has a lot of little fun, sneaky tools in it. Similarly with FTK, we have FTK Imager. This one is used specifically for acquiring forensic images of stored devices. So it will create bit-by-bit images and support mounting images. It'll verify hash values. It'll preview data before imaging. So if you ever want to hide a piece of data inside of specifically an image file, FTK Imager is going to be your best friend because it'll make it really easy to find it. Next is NCase, which is probably the most widely used tool, probably outside of college level. Really because that one is used for a lot of in-depth and really formal investigations. It enables examiners to acquire, analyze, and report on digital evidence, and recover hidden or deleted files, parse registry data, and conduct detailed file and email analysis. And it will also allow for custom scripts and plugins to help expand its functionality. So once again, this is another tool that's really versatile. You can use it for a lot of different things. And you can even have customized scripts to run on it. So if there's stuff that you're specifically looking for, your script is something that you can document as a tool, and EnCase can be the framework you use to help recover it. Last one is SIFT, which is SANS Investigative Forensic Toolkit. It's a free Linux-based distribution for forensics and incident response. Any of my friends who are taking like advanced electives in the future, if you take digital forensics, you'll take it with the lovely Yin Pan, and SIFT will be your best friend. It does come pre-configured with SleuthKit, Volatility, and a bunch of other types of forensics tools. It'll mainly be used to examine file systems, memory, and disk images, and it can also provide a comprehensive environment for analyzing compromised systems and extracting forensic evidence. SIFT is probably like a really good starter one to use, just because a lot of the tools and a lot of the things that you'll need are already pre-configured, and it's very like basic elementary level. But switching gears, we have our fun Linux tools. So this is going to be things like ExifTool, PDF Info, StegHide, CHRootKit, Foremost. There are literally so many tools for Linux, it's insane, and I can't cover them all in one PowerPoint presentation. So we're just going to talk about some of my favorites. So ExifTool. I'm sure a couple of you are definitely familiar with it. It basically allows users to read, write, and modify metadata within different files. So this is like images, videos, PDFs, etc. And basically what it'll do is you can just run ExifTool with a file name, and your terminal will print out this massive output containing so much information. It'll give you PDF versions, it'll give you authors, it'll give you timestamps, it'll give you creation dates, it'll give you modify dates, it'll give you like its, what's it called? I already said its version number, but it's so much information. So running ExifTool on a file can be a little difficult. So you can also redirect it to a different file, and it'll print it out even nicer for you. But it is a very, very nice way to see everything that's in the back end of some sort of file. You can also run it for multiple files. Like you can run it on a directory. That's going to be a lot of information. So be mindful when you use ExifTool. But she's really basic and she's fun. Next is PDF Info. This one is like going to give you more detailed information than ExifTool, but it's specifically for PDF files. So it'll give you things like the title, the author, the subject, the creation date. It'll also give you like the modify dates. It might give you the version number, and it's exactly the same as ExifTool. Like I said, it's just mainly used for PDF files. So running it is just PDF Info with file name. PDF Info and ExifTool are used pretty much simultaneously depending on what you're looking for. I do think PDF Info has a nicer output in my professional opinion. And when I mean professional, I mean I've used it twice. But next is StegHide. StegHide is a really fun one. It's probably my favorite. And it'll basically allow users to hide an image and hide data within image and audio files or extract the data from them. So these are your files like BMP, JPEG, WAV files, pretty much anything that is an image or an audio. And you can basically use it to embed it and extract. And it's really easy. You just have to run StegHide embed, and then you can put your cover file and then the file that you want to embed. And then extracting is just StegHide extract with your Stego file. They're very simple, very easy. You feel really sneaky when you run them. When it works, though. Sometimes she's a little funky, but it's okay. And then next is CHRootKit. So CHRootKit is a tool for checking a system for rootkits by scanning for common signatures of rootkits on Linux systems. So this is things like NARC or pretty much anything else that Linux may have. It's a fun time. I'm going to leave it at that. And you basically just use that by running CHRootKit or sudo CHRootKit. And it will give you a huge output of it just scanning around, finding files that it might strike it as like malicious or sketchy or scary. But it will give you the file name and it will do everything that you need it to. So it's pretty nice. That slide was not supposed to be there again. But moving on, just like everything that we do in cybersecurity, it often does come with challenges. So we're going to talk about a couple of them. So some of the most common challenges are related to it being technical, legal, or just having available resources. So this can be mobile devices, it can be cloud and IoT computing, pervasive encryption, it could be like steganography, cryptography, privacy, a lot of boring stuff. These challenges basically make our job as forensics investigators really difficult because it just basically means that you have more rules and less rules at the same time. So you still have to be thorough in your explanation, you still have to be thorough in your report, you still have to write up everything that you're doing, all the tools that you're using, but they might not have the same effect that you would want it to. So for a lot of these different challenges, it's really hard, and it's like brute forcing finding which tool will actually give you the information that you need to succeed. And our friend anti-digital forensics that I talked about earlier, this is going to be a very difficult process because that's what happens when you find a user's illegal activities, such as manipulating digital data or erasing data. That's illegal. So just like you're watching your favorite crime show, and I know I've been making this connection a lot, but you have to handle it so specifically and so safely because it's not something that you're really, I don't want to say you're not supposed to find, but it's not something that's easy to handle once you find it. So, in terms of examining it, it can be very time consuming. It might be impossible to have a legal way of proving it, and it can ultimately make that entire piece of evidence completely inadmissible, and you can't use it even if you find it. So it's not the most fun time. And then some ADF techniques to handle with it though, because with all challenges, there are some solutions. You can overwrite the data in our metadata or hide it. So this is going to be like steganography, cryptography, any of those tools really, or any of those frameworks, I guess. And then you can also use exploitation of bugs in forensic tools. So basically what that means is all of this data that you might not be able to actually find proof for, you might be able to manipulate the data in a way that you can. And then a friendly reminder. MTV and the producers insist that no one submit any videos of themselves or others performing any dangerous activities. We will not open or view them. Insert the little flash thing there. Thanks, guys. My favorite crime show? I grew up a lot on Forensic Files. Let's see, Forensic Files, Criminal Minds, and I think I also grew up on Deadly Women, which was an investigation discovery show. It was a really fun time. Does anybody have any other questions? Yep. Did you ever see steganography in your live work? Not in my current live work, but I've done a lot of demo work and research with it. Currently, I'm a sysadmin, so I have probably the least real-world experience, unfortunately, but it is definitely something that's very cool. What's up, Drew Young? How did you learn most of this forensic stuff? Was it through RITSEC things or classes or work? I took Professor Yin Pan's advanced elective for computer system forensics, and I found it really interesting. She kind of took me under her wing. She let me do a lot of demo work for her on the side. I started doing a lot of research because it was something that just genuinely interested me a lot. This is my kind of niche. And then actually this past summer, I did a lot of work for Gen Cyber, which is the summer camp that's sponsored by the NSA. And I got to give talks on steganography and forensics, which was super cool. Any other questions? Alrighty.